SeaWorld Orlando opened in 1973 as a different kind of destination. Instead of rushing between high-speed rides, tourists spent their afternoons wandering past aquariums and sitting in open-air stadiums watching marine life perform. By the early 1990s, the Orlando tourism landscape was rapidly accelerating. Just up the highway, Universal Studios and Walt Disney World were pouring hundreds of millions of dollars into highly themed, narrative-driven dark rides and motion simulators. This massive influx of high-budget competition terrified SeaWorld's corporate owner, the Anheuser-Busch Brewing Company. They looked at the mega resorts next door and worried their quiet, zoological park was about to lose its share of the vacationing crowds. The executives decided they needed to fight back. They mandated a complete overhaul of SeaWorld's identity, demanding the construction of big-budget, immersive attractions that could go toe-to-toe with the neighbors. Passive aquarium exhibits and dolphin shows worked for the 70s, but surviving the modern Orlando theme park wars required a leap into high-end storytelling. It was a matter of corporate survival. In 1998, that massive leap arrived in the form of Journey to Atlantis. Built for an estimated $40 million, the ride was housed inside a sprawling 10-story sandstone temple meant to dominate the park skyline. To execute this, SeaWorld commissioned MacRides. This diagram shows the layout of what they created, the world's first true water coaster. The system merged 3 distinct phases into a single continuous track: a slow-moving indoor dark ride, a traditional high-speed flume drop, and a physical roller coaster. The designers used that hybrid system to play a clever trick. After plunging down a 60-foot outdoor drop, the boats were pulled back inside and hurtled through an S-curve track hidden entirely in the dark. To populate that dark ride space, SeaWorld invested heavily in late 90s show technology. They filled the sunken ruins with CGI projection screens, complex animatronic figures, and thousands of fiber optic lights to guide the boats through the reef. Journey to Atlantis was SeaWorld's ultimate high-stakes declaration of war. They stepped directly into the realm of immersive fantasy design, determined to prove they could beat the industry titans at their own game. The attraction relied on a surprisingly intricate plot. Riders played the role of tourists, warned by an eccentric fisherman to stay away from a cursed underwater city. Ignoring him, they follow a magical seahorse named Hermes deep into the ruins, only to be hunted by an evil siren named Allura. But communicating that plot to moving vehicles proved incredibly difficult. The story relied on a rapidly moving stream of fiber optic lights to represent the Hermes character. The effect darted past so quickly that most passengers never realized it was supposed to be their guide. The dialogue and audio cues fared even worse. The mechanical roar of the water pumps and the splashing of the heavy boats drowned out the specific lines of exposition necessary to understand what was happening around the next corner. The ultimate issue was tone. Because of the bright facade and a low height requirement, parents boarded with young children expecting a cheerful boat trip. Instead, they were plunged into pitch darkness and confronted with a massive, terrifying siren animatronic lunging directly out of the shadows. The extreme ambition of the narrative design completely backfired. By trying to craft a complex mythology without clear storytelling mechanics, SeaWorld created an experience that alienated the families they wanted to attract, while leaving everyone else thoroughly confused. Complex themed attractions require relentless, daily maintenance to keep their illusions intact. When high-tech effects inevitably break down, parks often rely on backup systems, known in the industry as B-modes, until expensive repairs can be made. SeaWorld struggled to keep up with the grueling upkeep required by their new $40 million toy. By the early 2010s, the ride was suffering from a cascading wave of broken projection screens, inactive mist effects, and stuck animatronics. Even the systems that still operated began suffering from severe synchronization failures. Looking at this timeline graph, you can see how the timing degraded. Audio tracks and lighting cues trigger seconds too late. Riders were left floating silently past locked statues, watching water jets fire at completely blank projection screens. Key plot points were replaced by empty corridors of total silence. This unchecked technical rot dealt the fatal blow to Journey to Atlantis. What started as a flawed but highly ambitious narrative blueprint was eventually reduced to a broken, incomprehensible mechanical shell. The breaking point arrived with a major refurbishment in 2017. SeaWorld faced a stark choice: spend millions of dollars to properly repair the attraction's shattered illusions, or take the cheapest possible way out. They chose the latter. The park essentially lobotomized the ride, permanently silencing the dialogue and turning off the story elements entirely. The exposition videos in the queue were removed, and the characters of Hermes, Allura, and the fishermen were erased. Today, the indoor sections are a static, lifeless float through dark rooms. That massive, terrifying animatronic of the siren doesn't lunge at all anymore. She just hangs unmoving in the shadows, an abandoned prop. The compound failure of this massive investment sparked a complete shift in corporate strategy. SeaWorld abandoned the idea of competing in the expensive world of immersive dark rides, pivoting to build high-thrill, lightly themed roller coasters that focus strictly on raw physics instead of narrative. The original journey to Atlantis stands today as a decaying monument to a harsh reality. High-end theme park storytelling is an unforgiving, staggeringly expensive illusion to maintain, and SeaWorld ultimately learned that they simply could not afford the magic.